What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Turn for Two.
This is Rob.
This is Anthony, and today we are going to be dwelling into our second third of our set review and some other stuff we want to touch on for this new set and the first 3 episodes of the new set, really.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what we've seen today. We got to play some tournament time at Alcalonia again in Troy. Those guys are great over there. A lot of more talented players. These are some people that really impressed me with some of the stuff that they brought, and feels like the meta's figured out, but we all know it's not even
it's nowhere
not even tip of the iceberg.
We thought it was figured out last time too, and it was just
exactly. I think it's exciting to see the direction it's going in.
Right.
I got some good wins and some very, very good losses.
First losses.
Yes, my first losses ever there. So congrats to those guys for taking it down. It was a lot of fun. I'm interested to see what the next things are. So how about we take a little second here?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Remember that time when Ravensburgers says, "Hey, at 11 o'clock, you want to sign up? Everybody's going to get a chance. It's going to randomize chance to get a box right from our site, right from the horse's mouth."
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that sounds wonderful. So me being the good little worker that I am, between patients, by the grace of an excellent NP that we've hired, I managed to secure a little bit of time, and by that I mean about 5 minutes to do that particular task. I did it with my work computer and my phone, just trying to be diligent about beating the numbers.
Yeah. And then what happened probably 5 minutes before 11 when you probably logged on when it said, "Hey, guess what? Now we're doing it at 12.
Yes. The whole thing just didn't work. And so I said,
no, it was 10 at first. It was 10 o'clock. Got in the
10,
queue
then 11.
Then it was 11.
Then it was 1:05.
It was 10:30. It was getting the queue at 9. It opens at 10:30. Then it was 11:30. Okay. Then they pushed it back and announced at 12 it would be 1:05.
Okay.
And then they got quote unquote DDoSed.
I think that they just didn't realize that there was going to be an insane.
They didn't realize from the beginning there was going to be an insane want.
How can they just continue to make the same mistake? Anyway,
they're beating a dead horse at this point.
We still love the game, so you do whatever you're doing. Just drip those little bits of sweetness that we get an opportunity to experience, and we're like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for the next pack!" And it's just like, put it in my veins. And anyway, they keep doing a good job, but not at all.
Yeah.
So game's still good. You got me still interested. But what did you play against today?
I played. I don't even remember what I played first. It was Emerald Steel. It's supposed to be Mill. He told me
it was Mill.
Didn't see very much Mill. I saw a whole lot of control and not letting me play things though.
That's fun. I like when that happens to you.
Lost to that, and then I went against 2 green purples and absolutely dominated with the best combo in Amethyst Emerald being the Queen and Pete on turn 3.
Oh my god! Spoiler alert. You definitely. I don't know what my rating for that card is right now.
6 out of 5.
But
especially that sick enchanted in my deck.
Yeah, scrats on that trade. That was very good. So we got 2 colors to do today.
Yep.
We're starting with Emerald, and we're moving right on to Ruby.
Everyone's favorite.
So let's take 1 second. Can we take 1 more second?
You want to talk about what you played against today?
I'm sorry. We're going to talk about a thing.
Let's talk about what you played against
I hate
today.
Ruby.
Yeah.
I'm over it, but it's a love-hate relationship, right? So it has this crazy comeback potential, which is something I like in a game. I think that's fun. But also now it has an oppressive amount of comeback potential where you can be at 18 and being like, oh, this feels nice. I just need nearly play a card and wait to win the game. And then every single turn after turn after turn, no matter what you drop down.
Right.
It just gets annihilated. And they just slowly gain board advantage back because they're just destroying all of your cards. And they keep getting more pieces to do so.
You don't get a chance to do absolutely anything. It's just like you play a character, they get rid of it. You play a character with war, they be prepared to you.
Yeah, it's too versatile. It kills too much of the meta. And I am interested to see how people combat it like they did in Season 1. But it was a little oppressive to me today. But did play some good games. I had
Yeah.
played. I can complain all I want, but they were good games. Well, one was not. A good
so
game.
we can go back. Let's just one more thing I'd like to touch on before we move on is we
Yeah.
can go back to our first episode, which was titled by our amazing friend Rob over here. Titled, do you remember what the title of that episode was? A Whole New World is a Bad Card, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't rub this in my
quote,
face.
A quote ripped right from Rob's mouth himself. You can go find it in the first episode.
It's true.
And Rob, what was you want to inform the listeners what was in your deck today?
1 or 2 of that card.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
Only 1 or 2?
No, but 1 or 2 is still correct.
So you played 4 Whole New Worlds in your deck?
Yeah, I did.
So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Rob is a liar.
I'm not a liar. It's still a terrible card.
But you play it.
Okay. I had to. I didn't have any draw, and as soon as I run out of all those initial starting up pieces with that, I need to refill. Which if I can establish board control, and I don't care how many cards are in their hand, then I will play a card to get more cards. Then whatever they get doesn't matter. Every other time it's bad. But it has enough use that I had to use it. It's still a bad card. I will not unsay that because it's still true. But sometimes necessary evils and all that.
All right, so let's jump into our set review so we don't have another hour and a half episode.
Why not? The world wants to hear our voice, Anthony, and we're going to friggin' give it to them.
Not on YouTube.
Yeah. All you people do this. That I know you love this the first time, but just give it a background play on YouTube too.
Yes, please do.
All right. So starting with Arthur, what are you doing? Put your phone down. You're looking at a Pokemon card.
I'm reading what Josh and Dave said because they're I don't know. They're being Josh and Dave.
Bad boy.
Shout out Josh and Dave, but not really. Good Kid Gaming on Twitch.
Yes, give him that.
He better be listening to our podcast if we're building him a Lorcana deck.
That's fair.
I'll force it into his ear holes.
All right, start it off. What do you got?
All right, we got Arthur. 4-cost Inkable. We'll probably stop doing this after a while.
No.
But 4-cost Inkable, 4/3, turns for 2. It's about, for me, it's 3 out of 5. Honestly, even a 2.5 out of 5. Just like a mid, it's 50% for me. Like,
yeah, no, I feel it.
Good. It just doesn't do much.
It's a good cost. It turns for 2, which we love. Everything that turns for 2 is good, obviously. Oh, that's right. I wanted that. So you're right. It's a solid card, but I gave it a 3 out of 5 just because it's a 4/3. I like sometimes being able to kill things at 4. And it turns for 2, which is great. Yeah. That's a great draft card also because it's a common.
Right.
So I love that.
I wish you could. I had this issue last time. You can't arrow it.
I can just go back and forth. It's fine.
Yeah.
So then we go.
So it doesn't let you.
Okay, it doesn't matter. I already knew that was there. I unspoiled the thing that was already not spoiled for me. So this is also the next scene where he's climbing there and then he's about to jump, just like we're talking about with the Pete,
which we'll get to after. Yeah,
it's very interesting. All right, so this I have to talk about because this was the reason I made my deck. So Beast Relentless, he's a 6-cost inkable 4/5 that turns for 2, but he is the embodiment of turning for 2. He, whenever an opposing character is damaged, you may ready this character. So when I playtest this online, I have several turns where I can turn for 2 4 times, which is not turn for 8. It's turn for 2, turn for 2, turn for 2, turn for 2.
He's the official mascot of our podcast.
And it does some very good things. It does struggle against 2 things, and that is red removal and resist. But there are ways around half of those things. So it's a really, really good card. If you can steal games with this. People are like, oh, you have 10. I'm not worried about it. You're like, oh, well, you should have been, because all I had to do is attack. All I have to do is use anything that deals damage, and I'm always just turning it back.
And it covers too. If you have 2 characters that turn for 2, right, and you want to attack with one, you turn with Beast, you ready with Beast, and then you turn again with Beast.
Yeah, you can use it offensively too. Yeah, you can just kill 2 things.
Yeah.
And it's,
or if you pair it with yellow with Rapunzel, you kill something, kill something.
I think I just realized something, that when you attack with him and he damages something, he readies himself.
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah. That's why Namari exists.
Wow.
And
card's good, guys. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. I don't know what your vote is, but that has so much application, and I pulled 8 of them, so there's that.
And I own 2 of the ones you pulled.
You sure did.
Nope, that's not how that works. Control Shift T.
Control Shift T. Wow. You taught me a thing. Thank you.
If anyone doesn't know, that's how you get a tab back after you close it like an idiot.
Wow. And you deserve that. I'll take it. I deserve that.
I know you do.
Your turn.
Bell. 3 cost, uninkable, bookworm.
She's an uninkable bookworm.
She's an uninkable bookworm. 2/4. While opponent has no cards in their hand, they get +2. Lore. Turns for 1. Cannot turn for 2. So it's a bad card off the rip.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't turn for 2.
I'm very undecided about this card. So this card I have is a 3.
Okay. Why 3?
I think it combos well with the card we'll talk about next, which is another 5 out of 5 for me. Only because I've used it a lot.
Whoa.
It's a shift target for 3. So you play it, you can shift next turn. But if you don't shift with it, and they attack your other bell, which, spoiler alert, discards their hand.
Oh wow! So that would just
it gives you 3. So it's like it can be nice. It can do the same thing the other bell does, but in situations where you aren't doing that, where you're not, where they have a single card in their hand, it doesn't do anything. So it just only turns for 1. So I think that's why I give it a 2.7. But I will round it up to
should have made this out of 100. I didn't know we were going to have such specific numbers.
Even at a 10, 5 is very hard. There's a lot of decimal numbers.
Fair. All right. 10 it is for next. All right, guys. Since we're
it'll be next set.
Out of 8 3/4. That's what I want. This is a full 8 3/4 out of 8 3/4. I think it's okay. It's a 2 out of 5 for me. It's an okay shift target, but it's uninkable, so it's not really helpful for me. But the next card, however,
is also uninkable. It is a 5 cost. It's a 3/3. Turns for 3. Shifts for 3. Bell, Hidden Archer. When this character is challenged, the challenging character player discards all cards in their hand. Immediate 5 out of 5, other than red removal and blue and Hades, which is a
gray
bad card,
and lots of ways to kill it. That's why I give this a 4.5 if we're doing all these numbers out of 5, or 4.567. I don't know. How many decimal places are we going at this point?
Just one.
The art is gorgeous. I love that. This
also shocked this didn't get an enchanted,
and that she has hearts for arrows. I don't know if anybody didn't notice that, but she's shooting these very sharp heart arrows. Or the roses, actually. Even crazier. Those are roses, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, those are. I don't know why you thought those were hearts.
Well, because I don't know, because I'm blind, I guess. Definitely look like hearts originally. But that's
even cooler. Doing my injections if you're blind.
Oh, you can do that. You don't have to look to do injections. You just talk to them
just
the whole time.
Stick.
Yeah, it's easy.
Stick things in place.
It's so powerful when it gets killed, or when it even gets. That's even better. Is when it's challenged. It doesn't even have to be knocked. So you can't even just ping it and then kill it with something else. No.
Yeah.
As soon as you're doing challenge action at her, she's just just discard your hand. That's super powerful, but it's only good early as well. Yeah. You get it late, who cares? I discard no cards to kill your 3/3 you paid 5 for. That's why it's a 4.5.
Yeah.
This card I originally said was really good.
Bucky.
And right now it's not yet.
It's just not.
So Bucky's a 2 cost 1/1. He turns for 1. Bucky's Squirrel Squeak Tutor. He has Ward, which is awesome. When you play a Floodborn character, each opponent chooses and discards a card. So there's not a lot of Floodborn that got printed. I thought there was going to be more Floodborn in the rise of the Floodborn.
But I also didn't realize, I don't know if you realized, but your favorite card from set 1 is Floodborn.
Tiny Tack.
Your other favorite card.
It's my favorite card.
If you go to...
Use T and a bunch of sounds. That's the card.
Actually, I can just hit silver because it should be...
What you talking about, Willa?
Is this... No, it's not set 2. I never realized this, but this is Floodborn.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So there are Floodborn characters.
I know there were before.
I never realized it until I looked at the Tinkerbell.
That's awesome.
Let's go to blue and look at the enchanteds.
I'm gonna smack you. He wants me to see the only enchanted
Alice.
now that I haven't seen yet, which is the Alice, and I refuse. I need to see it in my hot little hands. I'm never going to see it, or somebody can
Come on, Andy, hand it to him.
And he doesn't have it.
That's what you think.
I don't know. He probably does. Anyway, once there's more Floodborne where you can just start really playing lots of Floodborne, this is going to be very oppressive because you put 2 of these, and every time you just play something they have to discard. That's
between Bucky. Yeah, Bucky, Belle, Prince John.
Yeah, there's
all the we'll get to a lot of these, but there's a lot of make opponent discard.
So this is a 2 for 5 for me for now because it doesn't have any support. Yeah. This, however, it does not get a good
also
grade
a 2 for 5.
I'm with you. So the one that we're this for nowing right now is Cheshire Cat Always Grinning.
Beautiful art.
It's a Cheshire Cat made out of trees and leaves, and it's fascinating. I love it. The art is fantastic. Even the quote, Alice felt quite confused, but I don't see much ink here at all. How can the flood still be changing the inklands? And then in a typical Cheshire Cat sort of way, things are always changing, you know. It would be quite a change if they didn't. Like, it's just thematic. It's wonderful, but it's not great in the game. It's
just shocked if I told you I've never seen this movie.
No, but it's sad because it's fantastic. So, beautiful art, Mac card.
Not much to talk about. It's
However,
not as good as the first one.
There is something we're going to talk about.
That Rob thinks is bad in my deck.
It is, and it's no longer in your deck, is it? Because you think it's bad in your deck. Also made out of tree parts, but more the bark this time, is Cheshire Cat from the Shadows. So it's... Ooh, you got me with that. That's scary. Shift 5, so you can put it on top of the really good 3 costs from the first set. It is evasive. Who doesn't love that? It's an inkable 8 cost, so if you're not going to pay for it. Hold on, it's a 5/6, and
it turns for 2.
And it has Wicked Smile. Banish chosen damaged character. So my deck kind of revolves around damaging characters with the beast, and then it's very simple to...
Big ass Tinkerbell.
Or yeah, any number of things. And just when you can get this into play and start doing that, then whole new world all day at that point. Sure, I'll draw cards when everything you play I'm just going to kill.
Yeah. And this is probably a 4.5 for me.
I am at a 4.5 as well. It's just a little expensive.
Which is my biggest problem is it's a little expensive to put into play.
Right.
So especially shift, I think it's reasonable to shift 5.
If you shift it for 5, it's fantastic.
But paying 8 for it for what it does is good, but it's a lot.
It's still an evasive turns for 2. So it's just a little too high cost. I couldn't quite give it a 5. If I'm being honest, in my heart it's a 6, but I'm just trying to be fair.
The art's a 6.
The whole experience is a 6. It does not have flavor text, which makes me sad.
There's a lot of cards I've realized don't have flavor text.
Like there's lots of room
so
for this
shit on there.
There's only a little.
So,
all right. So talk to me about this.
Speaking of cards, I guess we kind of figured this out with Garrett. Either shout out Aquilonia. Is that his name? No,
I'm not sure who you're talking about.
The one you made his deck.
Landon.
Fuck me.
All right. Anyway, you can just.
I'm so bad with
snip
names.
that.
I don't even care. I'm bad with names. I don't call people the wrong name all the time.
Anyway.
Daisy Duck Secret Agent. It is a 4-cost inkable 2/3 turns for 2.
Yes, it does.
Whenever this character quests, each opponent chooses and discards a card. Now, that was also something Landon wasn't enforcing. He would just turn and I would discard it, but like he would be like,
well,
you got to
discard it. It's a game state thing, so you have to do it anyway.
Right. But it's good. I mean, it's a 4-cost, which is a little expensive, which we talked about earlier when we worked on my deck. I think it's, I'll say 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Has its uses. Aside from that, it's not amazing. Its thwart ability is nice, or if that's what we call it, an ability.
Yeah.
Past that, it turns for 2, which is good. Aside from that, it's numbers-wise, it's a 2/3, nothing special for a 4-cost.
Let's see. I have a 4 or 5. I think this card's very powerful. Especially if you get a concert of them. You get 2 of these. Their opponents are going to have any cards left in their hand. So it's very powerful in that. I think it's fun in a Flynn Rider kind of deck. Flynn Rider.
Flynn Rider.
Anyway, but she's a 2/3. You're right. So she's a little soft. She does not have a big enough butt. She's a duck. Butt. And another duck we can talk about is the other 4-cost duck, Donald Duck, Perfect Gentleman. He's a 2/5 also. Turns for 2.
Shift for 3.
Yeah, shift for 3 onto some other Donalds. There are some cheaper Donalds. At the start of your turn, each player may draw a card. Now, I still think that this is like a 3 out of 5 for me. Yes, you're giving your opponent cards, which I hate doing. Oh yeah, I forgot we have a more scale. So yeah, 2.8 I would give it that.
Giving your opponent a card, even if they can't use it right away, is not great.
I agree with that. He's Floodborn, FYI. Speaking of what's Floodborn, what isn't. I think shifting him, I don't think there's a heck of a lot of real cool targets that I would worry, unless you're putting him in what red is the other one.
Which is what Dave's deck is.
So it's good in that regard. But drawing a card is powerful for you as well. So again, similar to the card that I hate, if you are ahead in board state, you getting more resources is just keeping you ahead.
Right.
But and then again, the argument is over, then your opponent gets answers. But I think it's a decent card.
Yeah.
So next is another Donald Duck.
A bad Donald Duck. 3 cost. Donald Duck Sleepwalker. 0/5. When you play an action, this character gets +2. That's why I have so many actions in his deck.
Yeah.
Well, because of this. Bad card. I'd give it a 1.5 out of 5. It has some uses. It only turns for 1. Aside from that, it is very bad.
Yeah, I'm 1 for 5 on this. It's not worth the payoff. Like, you're playing that many actions that you're going to get a 4/5/1 turn. It's got a big butt, and big butts cause big problems. But
it only turns for 1. If it
turns for 2,
even,
sure, but it makes all cards better, right? Makes all podcasts better.
Yeah. Dr. Facilier.
So this is another Dr. Facilier. This one's in green, which I love. An Emerald Dr. Facilier, Fortune Teller. 7 cost inkable, 4/4, turns for 3.
I like how his cards have the little green
logo
on the back of them.
I did not notice that. So the cards that Dr. Facilier is holding have the Emerald logo on them. That's a good observation on that. You're in my world. When this character quests, choose an opposing character can't quest during the next turn. So it does the same thing that Jasper does, which is a great ability.
Yeah.
But a 7 cost 4/4 is pretty expensive.
Turning for 3 with evasive is pretty good.
Oh, that's true too. So I mean, you're kind of getting your money's worth out of this, but you think you pay 1 more, you can have a BLT, which is a 5/5 turns for 4 evasive. But he's also locking other things down, so you can use this to force people to attack in the other one. So I would say I have him as a 3 or 4 out of 5. So I guess 3.7,
3.5 for me.
Okay.
It's slightly too big of a butt. I think if it was 6 uninkable, it would be better than a 7 inkable.
That's interesting because I rarely would say something like that, but I'm almost with you on that.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting card. I'd like to see somebody play it because it's just a better. I mean, if you can get it out, it's just better Jasper. And he also quests, so his activity is off of quest, which I like. So this next card I love. This is Enchantress Unexpected Judge. She's a 2 cost 1/1. You're like, why you like a 2 cost 1/1? Well, what does she do? She turns for 2.
Turns for 2.
We love that. But also, she turns for 2 as a 1/1. You're like, also bad. But true form, while being challenged, this character gets +2 power. So you just turn for 2 every time, just like you would do a Flynn Rider.
Flynn Rider.
And then you make them come at you to stop you from doing it, and they're gonna take a lot of damage from something. Yeah. However, it's a 1/1, so it dies to everything that deals damage. So because of that, it's a 4/5 for me. But I still think it's a very powerful card. You all right over there?
Yeah. Tired.
Okay. So it's also a good draft card, FYI. So next one. We have
to make sure I saved my deck before I go home and realize I didn't save my deck, and then I can't build it.
I'm sure you can remember it. Now we have another Flynn Rider.
Flynn Rider.
So now he's Australian.
Flynn Rider. Pip, Flynn Rider.
Oh boy. It's okay. This was our last one. We got shut down. Confident Vagabond, 1 cost, 1/3, turns for 1. It's a shift target. It's like a 1 out of, maybe a 2 out of 5 for me because it's fine enough in that deck.
I I'd say 1 out of 5 just because there's the better one from set 1 that you'd rather be playing.
But you also run both number 1, and people run 1/3s. Olaf gets used, Mini gets used, so it's just another 1/3. So by that extension, it's also fine. But here's the real sauce, though. Talk to us about it.
See how they have to you have to keep scrolling down. It's really annoying.
That's all right.
4 cost uninkable. Flynn Rider, his own biggest fan.
His own biggest fan.
He is. It is a 2/3 uninkable. I think I already said that. He is Floodborn. Shift 2. So I can understand why you'd want the 1 cost. Ow. Evasive. Only characters with evasive can challenge.
Also Floodborn.
I said that.
Oh, I'm joking. You go ahead.
This character gets -1 for each card in your opponent's hand.
Sorry, guys.
I think this card is only good with the bell.
I think
makes you discard.
It's good in discard.
Yeah, anything that makes your opponent discard, because it can't be good otherwise, because it just normally isn't questing for much.
It's still a 2/3 evasive, so you can get some evasive stuff, and there's plenty of ways to boost.
But it's uninkable.
It is uninkable, but technically Shift 2 is pretty great in that uninkable doesn't feel as bad at that point.
So I'll give it a 2.645382.
Oh boy!
I'll give it
now you're going.
I'll give it like a 2.7.
I'm gonna give it like a 3.8, 3.9. I think that it's solid. When you can get this to work, this is an oppressive card that's hard to deal with. So if you can live the dream and just discard somebody's hand out, or it's just a little bit later in the game and they don't really have that many cards in their hand, you're paying 4 or even 2 for something that turns for 4.
Yeah, so I think it's just very situational, which is tough.
But when it happens, it's great. And it's not too hard to do it. So this is another thematic card I really like.
Gaston.
Scheming Suitor. He's a 2-cost 1/3. While 1 or more opponents has no cards in their hand, he gets 3 power. So this going off the discard mechanic again, he becomes a 4/3. It's not much to talk about, honestly. It's a 2. It's a 2 out of 5 for me. And I mean, it's like a solid 40%. 2 out of 5. Yeah. It's like it might be an interesting card if you were playing pure discard, which I don't think is really super viable yet. Maybe, I don't know. It's too early. Large Little John.
Little loyal friend. 6 cost inkable, 6/6, turns for 2. What's the rush, Rob? Take a load off. There's plenty of time to go looking for lore in that lost crazy ink.
That's the one thing I wrote down is it's talking to me, and it says, "What's the rush, Rob?" So in my heart, this is a 5 out of 5 because I love.
It's another 2.5 for me. It's a 6/6, turns for 2. Love that it turns for 2. So I'll give it a 2.7 for the fact it turns for 2.
I'm on 2.7 with you as well. I think it's just a solid cost. It's
big butts cause big problems.
Right?
We really need to print T-shirts with some of these quotes on them.
That's one of my favorite things about this is big butts cause big problems. And he also hits for 6, so he's taking out some guys. Like it's an interesting card, and it's inkable. So again, to me, 2.7. I'm there on it. So then we
Lucifer.
Yes.
I'll do this one because I like this card.
Go for it.
5 cost uninkable. Lucifer, Cunning Cat, 2/2. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and discards either 2 cards or 1 action card. It also turns for 2. I really like this, even just as a 2/2 that turns for 2. It's a little expensive, so I will give it another 2.7 for that reason.
Okay.
Actually, I'd probably put it at a 3, but forcing your opponent to choose 2 cards or 1 action, especially if they don't have an action, 2 cards could be their entire hand, and that can put your Flynn Rider, your guess.
Oh, no,
actually, we'll say 3.3. I think the 5 cost makes it so hard for me to want to say it's super good. If it was
4 cost, this card would be like a
4 cost, that card would be a 5 out of 5.
So I think 5 just makes it more fair.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a high 3, like a 3.6, 3.7. It's just off of being an absolute include. If you have the uninkable space in your deck, I think this is something that nobody's expecting. Yep. And discarding an action card is still good. Guess what? The thing you just discarded was they discard 2 cards or they discard their Be Prepared.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a very
their dragon.
They discard 2 dragons or 1 Be Prepared. Like it's very good.
Rob wishes.
Oh yeah, I wish that was the only card to discard. It's also Kitten Face. As creepy as it is. My brother-in-law had a cat named Lucifer, lived like 21 years.
Pain, Underworld Imp, 2 cost, inkable, 1/4. While this character has 5 or more, he gets +2. It turns for 1. It's not great. It works well with anything that can give it the +4, so Queen and Maximus. But aside from that, it's not great.
If it was +3, I think it would get you there. But also, this technically is what your deck does, so it's not a bad thing for you. You could probably make that work. But I like that its attack is his ability is called Coming Your Most Lugubriousness.
It's a big word for some kids playing this game.
It's again a thematic card. I really like it. I like the art, but to me, it's not very good. It's like a 1 out of 5 for me. All right, so I won't do that left-handed because that feels.
You do not need to keep slamming your. Hang on, I turn the mic off for a quick second. You do not need to keep slamming your notebook.
Oh.
So Panic is next. 3 cost, uninkable. It is a 2/3, turns for 2, so that automatically makes it better than Panic.
You know it.
I also think those 2 cards connect looking at them.
They don't. I tried.
Oh, they don't?
No.
That is Hades right there.
Yes, it is. That's cool. That's a good observation, too. You are on it today. Your eyeballs are working.
Looking for hidden Mickeys, honestly. Underworld Imp, 2/3, turns for 2. When you play this character, chose a character gets +2 this turn. If his character is okay. If his name is Pain, he gets +4. So I guess if you combo Pain and Panic together,
which makes sense,
it makes it a slightly better card. So as a combo, I would give them a 3.5. On their own, as a combo, I'd give them at least a solid 3.
Keep your 3.5 if you want it. If Panic wasn't uninkable, it would be a 3.5 for me.
Yeah.
If he were that, then you're also doing it in order. You're 2, then a 3.
Right.
But you can also build around this. This is a budget Pete. Like it's not bad.
I think it's a good Porcana deck.
Yeah, that would be an interesting. Porcana is going to be really interesting. We'll be talking about that as well. There's going to be a lot of different Porcana possibilities. All right, so that was lugubriousness. God, I love that.
Get a good pen click in there for.
Oh yeah, because
whoever hates your pen clicks.
Many people.
Here we go. The best card in green.
I will say nothing.
Second best card in green. I don't know. Probably best card in green. Pete, inkable, 5 cost. Pete the bad guy, 3/4 ward. Whenever you play an action, this character gets +2 this turn. Whenever this character has 7 or more, he gets +2 lore. He turns for 2. Instantly amazing card. Paired with Queen, which gives him +4. Maximus gives him +4. Just in Time, which puts his ass on the board on turn 3. If you go Queen, or the Queen, shift Queen, Just in Time, turn 4, you're turning for 6.
And, ladies and gentlemen, that happened to me not 1 hour ago. It was a perfect start.
And that happened 3 times against the blue-green decks.
It was very, very impressive to watch.
6 out of 5, I am not going under that.
Wow. So my original.
Yeah, let's hear what your original thoughts were on this card.
Are you ready? I'll read everything that I wrote. 2/5, meh. And he changed my mind, folks. I didn't even pay attention to the fact that he has Ward, which is fantastic. Ward is such a powerful ability.
Look at that beautiful Enchanted.
It's a really great Enchanted that you were so lucky to trade it for today. It's just really good. It's pretty much. I was going to say budget Cusco, but it's not. It's just better Cusco. Not better Cusco. That's not true. I think Cusco's ability is better.
Yes,
but it is a 3/4 ward for 5 that is inkable. That is all improvements, and it can turn for 4, which is
also an improvement
technically.
But it has a condition, so it's like it's right there with
Cusco.
Yeah.
In different ways.
This takes a little more setup, but it has a better payoff than Cusco.
It's very, very impressive. I immediately bought 4 on the internet as soon as I saw how that works.
So I feel like
because it's cheaper than buying packs. FYI, I bought 4 foils. It was $24. It's 2 packs, and now I have 4 foils of it. Like, sounds like a win.
So what's your new rating?
So my new rating is 4 out of 5. I think that the stipulations throw it off. Let's go 4.2 even.
I'm sticking with my 6.
Keep your 6. I think it's really powerful. I think it's a completely underrated card. I don't see anybody even giving it any credence except for you. So shout out to you on that one.
Good. I don't want anyone to. Let me keep my magic.
It's very interesting. It was fun to play against. I think it's really powerful, and I'm glad it's in the game. And it's Pete. Pete's such a cool, iconic character.
It does not get enough love, obviously.
Right. I gave it meh was my rating.
What's funny is this card comes with the enchanted I got rid of because it's a villain character.
Sure, but there's tons of villains.
Yeah.
So Prince John, greediest of all. He's a 3-cost uninkable 1/2, also with Ward. I sentence you. Whenever your opponent discards one or more cards, you may draw a card for each card discarded. So now he also turns for 2. So that being said, that's wonderful. However, the Ward and just leaving him there and doing nothing but just leaving him there is the point. Cards. He's an item. Really, this is an item card that happens to be able to turn for 2. You just get people to discard, and discard is a huge thing right now. Somebody's going to solve the discard deck, and this is going to be in it. It's extremely expensive right now because everybody understands that that's what it is. But just imagine you play that Whole New World, which is the worst card ever. We already talked about it.
It is.
But your opponent discards 4 cards. You draw 11.
Yeah.
Like that's also what happened to me that made me personally sad. And I just scooped.
There's another hidden Mickey right on his fucking necklace.
Okay. That is a good job. You just been staring, really trying to find those Mickeys.
Oh, no, I was actually looked over, and I was like, that's an interesting card. And I go, that's a fucking Mickey.
Look at you. I'm so proud of you. I don't remember what I was saying, but you found the thing. So good job about finding the Mickey.
Taxes.
It's an expensive card, and it's going to be good. So my rating for Prince John was 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd say it's around a 4 out of 5.
Just right on the nose.
got
Queen of Hearts. 2-cost uninkable 1/2. When you play this character, deal a damage to chosen damaged opposing character. I remember what it was. When you discard a card off of Tiny Tinkerbell Tactician, and that they get to draw a card off of that discard, and that hurts. Queen of Hearts is meh to me. She turns for 2. We love turns for 2, but a 2.
It's a good shift target, but uninkable makes it probably 2 out of 5 for me.
I'm with you on that.
2.3 because it turns for 2.
1.7 only because it turns for 2.
Radigan.
Yes.
A couple of these shinies.
So that is Radigan, Criminal Mastermind, 4-cost inkable, 4/1, evasive, turns for 2. So we love turns for 2. We love evasive. That's all very good. It kills evasive things, but it has 1 willpower. So you sneeze at it in the right direction, it's just going to go down.
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid 2.5. It does some good things. It can hit for a decent amount, but that 1 just... And there's no support that is like... Then there might be a support that gives something more health at some point. But
sure. I just feel... Yeah, it kills evasive cards, which is good, but meh. However, speaking of good evasive cards that card can kill, Ray.
5-cost inkable, 3/3, turns for 3, which takes him down a couple of pegs. He's about solid 3.3 because he's a 3.5 for me.
Really? I have him as a 4, probably 4.2 since I didn't have these extra numbers last time.
3.5 mostly, or 3.5 out of 5. Mostly because he's very good. I love evasive. I've loved Ray since he came out. I originally put him in my deck and took him out because I didn't think he was going to work. It's what, it doesn't do anything outside of that. I think it's very good, but it's there, and it's like when it comes to when you want to rank cards in a set, it's kind of like right in the, it's slightly above average of being a good card.
Interesting.
It's hard to put it up there because it doesn't do a lot.
It turns for 3 and it's evasive.
Right.
That's really good. And it's inkable.
Right, but for the same thing, Cusco does that, and it's uninkable, and has Ward.
Okay, but also kills
in
things.
The Banish, right. So it's like...
I have this as like a maybe a 3.9, but I have 4.4, and that's what I'm keeping. Turns for 3. I think it's an interesting card. I think it does a lot of good things. But here's something I really want to talk about.
The Queen?
The Queen. So... The Queen Disguised Peddler, 3-cost uninkable 2/3. Choose and discard a character card. Gain lore equal to the discarded character's lore counters. So you discard one of those Flynns that has 4 on it. Doesn't matter how many cards are in their hand.
And it gives you 4.
Gives you 4 lore.
That's pretty good.
You discard BLT Mickey. It gives you 4 lore.
I've never read this card. This card's actually really good.
You discard that dragon that gives you 3. Oh, wait, does the bouncy dragon give you 4 or 3? It's 4, right? She turns for 4? I don't remember. Either way, you discard all those 3 turns for 3 guys. It's very, very good. And you can put it in red and
turns for 2.
And do it again.
Bouncy Dragon turns for 2.
No, I'm at the purple one.
Oh, you're talking about Mim.
Yeah, Bouncy Dragon. Obviously, that's what her name is. Bouncy Dragon.
4.
Yeah, so there's 4 more. Also, I really like this in red because, again, BLT Mickey, but you can do 2 of them in a turn.
I like BLT. Actually, I don't like Butter Sword Tomato.
You'd get rid of your... Let's say you get rid of your Mickey, then you use the shield, pop her back up. You get rid of your Flynn, use shield, pop her back up. That's 8. You haven't even done anything. All you did was use her twice. So I have her pretty high. Control. I have her at a 5 out of 5 right now. And
I'd give her a 4.
Because as soon as somebody figures this card out, it's going to be really, really powerful.
So now we have Tiana, which is 5 cost Tiana True Princess, 5/3, turns for 3. Similar to Ray, I really like the whole turn for 3, 5 cost thing. That's what I like about Ray. She's not, however, evasive. So while she does hit for 5, which is pretty impressive and kind of rare, it's not as good to me as Ray is. So she's really only like a solid 3 out of 5 for me.
I'd probably say like a 2.7 even.
Sure. I'm with that. Next would be Verona, which I just saw this movie. The movie was solid. I don't know if I'd call it great, but I did enjoy it. So
is this
anyway,
dragon movie?
Yeah, this is Rhea. She's Verona, Fang Chief, 5 cost. Inkable, 5/5, turns for 2. We love turns for 2. A 5/5 for 5 that turns for 2 is right on par for cost. So it's meant like a solid 3. Good draft card.
I would say it's... I don't know if I want to say it's slightly worse than Tiana because it has 2 more willpower, but like the turn for 3 also feels good. But also if you're turning for 2 twice, I think that's better than turning for 3 once.
I agree with that. I think that's a really good key point about that. You're most likely killing 2 things with Fang Chief Verona as well because you're hitting 5 twice because you're probably not getting killed on that first hit. Yeah. So I think I agree with you on that. I would like this. So I would have to then rate it higher. So she gets a 3.4 for me.
I would have just did 3.1.
All right. That's fair.
So next we have... You want to say this so you don't yell at
you don't want to... Well, you put T's and Y's in it. So this is the 3 cost uninkable Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, which I wish was a good card because it's a great song, very iconic Cinderella song. But it's bad. So return chosen character of yours to your hand to play another character with the same cost or less for free. So just why? Like,
I mean,
saving something, I guess, like healing something and putting the same thing out. I could see this interesting with a giant tank, just replace a giant tank with another giant tank. So that feels kind of cool, but it has the same effects of just playing a card, so it's not like you can attack with it or do silly things with it.
It's not like I've made a lot of references to the card Thornton in Pokemon where it lets you like take a card out of your discard and replace it, but that also lets you do things with it that same turn as if it was already in play.
Right.
And so I think this card would be better. Right. If this card you'd replace it and it would act as if it was that card and you could, quest or attack with it, then it would make this card infinitely better. But because it basically gives it the summoning sickness, sure, you can have a 10 cost you replace for another 10 cost, but you can't use it that turn.
Right. So it's come into effect abilities, I think, is where it shines, but it's unimpressive. It's a song, thankfully, so I give it a 1.2 because it's a song. And a great song and great art too. I like the art for it, but it's just not a good card.
Yeah.
Bounce. Yeah.
Bounce.
It's
bounce,
Tigger.
Bounce.
We do love a good bouncing, but Tiggers do best. Are you ready for some bouncing? Oh my god, so it's so him. So I like that. Return chosen character of yours to your hand to return another chosen character to their player's hand. So this is almost just
like that
boo, but for their thing.
And your thing though, it does both, so it's slightly
right.
better, slightly worse.
So I think that it's better in that you're bouncing up. So I like the healing factor of Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, where it's like you're bouncing something that's got some damage on. You can play it again later. This does the same thing, but also bounces an opponent stuff. So you can also bounce something super cheap. Like
Yeah,
I bounce a 1 or a 2 cost to bounce your 6 cost, and I'm gaining
right.
on that. But it
Or
is
healing with
uninkable.
it.
So I think it's like maybe a 3 out of 5 right now. I think three, maybe a low 3,
I'd
3.1,
probably say 2.5. Yeah, it's not.
because it doesn't have the targets yet. I don't think, but it's going to be a good
Yeah.
card at some point. I think.
Hypnotize, 3-cost inkable. Each opponent chooses and discards a card, draw a card. Uh, it's got its uses. I mean, it's a discard, so it pairs well
Mhm.
with Prince John. It's the whole discard theme. Art is beautiful on this
I
card.
love the art on this card. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I think it's like it's a nice mid card.
Yeah,
It feels nice to make an opponent discard. Feels good to draw a card, and doing that for 3 inkables, solid to me. I don't think it's back breaking. I think it's also decent mid to late game too.
yep,
So also not bad at any point in the game. So I think that it's like a solid high 3 for me, like a 3.4, 3.5.
yeah, I agree.
Improvise is a 1 cost, with Mulan fighting with a fan, which I think is great. Chosen character gets +1 power this turn. Draw a card. Um, I have this as a 1 out of 5. Real solid in draft, like real
Yep,
good draft card. Otherwise, just underwhelming. Oh, am I gonna really? You're paying 1 to draw a card that happens to have a bonus, so it's just like a wasted card. It's like another Pokemon term would be Trekking Shoes, which is just like you're just kind of
yeah,
churning through cards. I don't know that 1 damage is going to make a big difference, so I don't. It doesn't impress me to bring your power up by 1.
yeah. It really just says draw a card.
You're right. So
It's basically trekking shoes without the discard. It's literally just hey, draw a card.
yeah. Pack tactics I do like, however. So 4 cost inkable, gain 1 lore for each damaged character opponents have in play. So that could be doing some pretty interesting things, with these people getting bigger and bigger boards recently. It really You could gain reliably probably 2 or 3 off of this, but gaining 2 or 3 lore by just paying 4 is solid,
Yeah,
and it's inkable. And I
yeah.
realize that it's that path of jaguars that Cusco and Pacha go through, and it's hilarious.
So next we have Ring the Bell. It is a 3-cost inkable action. Banish chosen damaged character. Not much to say for me. That is a 5 out of 5.
Couldn't agree
Paying
more.
3 to kill literally anything with damage on it, or just inking the card makes that card basically
So good.
a shoe in all green decks. If you don't run at least 3 of these, you're crazy.
I don't know about that statement, but I'm with you that it fits in nearly everything that's green. It's just, oh, are you gonna put damage on something? Okay. Do you want to just put a little bit of damage on something and then just kill it? Seems good. Or you're not even trying, like, cause in green, like most of the time, you're just trying to quest. You're just or not aggro. Oh yeah, it is aggro. Speed, right? Whatever. It's just
Yeah,
whatever. You're going balls to the wall, and they're going to be attacking into your guys, damaging their own guys, and be like, okay, well, let me finish that guy off while I'm doing it. It's easy to work around, and it kills anything that you can target that
yeah.
has damage on it. So, very powerful. 5 out of 5. I'm absolutely with you on that.
And then last card in green is Radigan's Marvelous Trap. It is a 3-cost uninkable. Banish this item. Each opponent loses 2 lore.
Snap, boom, twang. It's called.
Um, I want to say this is a solid like 3 for me. This is a little better than mid,
I'm
but
on you on.
it's
Yep. I'm on it.
3-cost uninkable is a reasonable price. The uninkable sucks, and you really only get to use it once to make your opponent lose 2 lore, which is really good.
Mm,
But it, I mean, you can put it in play any time and just banish it.
yeah,
But and there is times where this can win you games, but there's also times where this will do absolutely nothing for you. And unlike Ring the Bell or Pack Tactics, when it does nothing for you, you can't just ink it.
that's true. I
In
have it at
blue
a solid
decks,
3 out of 5 as well.
I think it's good in blue decks with like the Winnie the Pooh where you can just ink anything in your hand.
Sure.
And then, or where it just runs a lot of item discard regardless.
I just feel like it's rare that you don't want your opponent to just lose 2 lore.
Yeah.
I'm paying 3 for that is solid, but the uninkable's a little scary.
Yeah.
Um, but ultimately, I think it could be a very interesting card, especially if there's some sort of recursion or something like that. This could be something to watch out for, but right now it's just not fast enough, and you can lose 2 lore from your opponent other ways,
Yeah.
or just gain faster than they do, and it doesn't matter what they get.
Yeah.
But that's Emerald, so
Yeah.
crazy
Ruby.
amount of good cards in
Yes.
Emerald. I think that's it
If
got the most upgrades.
yeah, I think Emerald probably got the Emerald or
Ruby would be my other guess.
mm, hmm,
One
I
of
don't
these
know
years.
because Amethyst got a lot of stuff. The
Oh, they got their own
between
thing. Yeah.
Arthur and so it's like
But okay, then by that we would have to both be wrong and just say Sapphire because the whole nonsensical
yeah,
popsicle package is an entire it's an
yeah.
engine that's going to be around forever. But that
But
will
we'll
be
get to that
next
next
spoiler
episode.
week. That's
Yeah.
next episode. So let's dive right into Ruby so we can make this
Yes.
happen. I'll start it off. So 3-cost blue, fun-loving bear. The bees are buzzing in a tree to make some honey just for me. He's a 4/3, turns for 1. It's a good cost, 3 for 4/3.
Yep.
So for me, he's like a high 3, like a 3.5 maybe.
He's a kill spell. I don't
Yeah,
think you're really questing
exactly.
with him. You're killing with him.
Yeah, but that's a big kill spell for 3.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm not disagreeing. I do think it's good. It's just
I'm actually impressed with it. So it's a great draft card too. Great draft
yeah.
card. We have Boone,
Yep.
precocious entrepreneur. He's a 2-cost inkable 2/3. Similar on the cost of it's just a solid costed card, but
Yep.
unimpressive. 1 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I agree. Same with Card Soldiers is a 5-cost, 5/5, inkable, quest for 2, or turns for 2.
Gasp!
I said the thing.
Oh,
It
it's it.
uh
You're fired. And I'm
turns for
looking for a new partner. If you guys want to email me in, because I'm old.
turns for 2. Again, it's a 2.5 for me. It does what it needs to do, which doesn't do much else.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just it's a 5/5 turns for 2.
Yep.
It's standard vanilla, dude. It's fine. Donald
Donald
Duck.
Duck.
So you go ahead for this one.
He is a 5-cost inkable. Donald Duck, not again. 1/5. Fooey. This character gets +1 for each damage on him. He's also evasive. I think we were talking about this earlier, and I remember saying to you, you were talking about how you don't like spoiler teeth and ambitions because you're dealing 2 damage to yourself. And
Right?
I said, I go, there's some card that benefits from having damage on it. And I don't remember what it
Sure.
is. And I was like, I remember looking at it, and it was from putting Dave's deck together. I remember looking at this. This is probably one of the only cards Teeth and Ambition benefits, and you're really only doing it to
There's
get
one other card
lore.
I would mention, but
I
we'll
don't
talk
know what
about
it
it when we
is. But
I'll
yes,
talk
when
about
we
it
get there, we'll
when we
figure it. When
yeah.
I will figure it out.
Yeah. So yes, that card's really good in this with this card. It's evasive, which is the big piece of this puzzle.
Yep.
All he's got to do is just have some damage on him, and he's still an evasive that's turns for 2,
And
turns for 3, turns for 4. Like
I was
that's
gonna say, even with the 2 damage, you're turning for 3 and evasive. And if
with
they
4
can't do
damage, you're
anything,
turning for 5.
yeah, and if they don't have an answer for your that, even if you turn for 5 for 1 turn, that is still a fourth of the way there.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to just get into combat in ways that's beneficial for you,
Yeah,
and then you just turn for 5 and then it gets killed. Fine, who cares? It did what it needed to do, and but that's if they can kill it. That's the hardest part. So putting
right.
the damage on is actually a little harder because unless you're using like Teeth and Ambitions,
Without getting attacked. I mean, you can attack other things, which is
that's the only
also
way
an option.
which could
I
let you
mean,
control the damage.
right, and with shield too, you have the option to swing on something so they put 4 on you, ready yourself. Or no, with shield you can't quest
Can't
again.
quest then, yeah.
So then no, yeah, so it's not.
But I think it's interesting. It's a going to be a better card soon too. I'm sure there's going to be more
Yes,
stuff that's going to support it, and then it's going to be really good. So
I agree.
high 3 for me, like a 3.5,
Yeah.
3.6.
Uh
Go, I
Go
love
ahead.
I love this kitten face. Felicia, always hungry. 1 cost 3/1 with reckless. It's another kill spell. But it's a cool kill spell. It's whatever you. I don't care. You tell me what I'm killing, but I'm killing something with this cat for 1.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I like it against Amber. Just cat on cat violence, going taking a Simba out. It's really cool. I can't. To be fair, I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think that it's a solid, like maybe a 3.4. It's a fun card. It
Yeah.
would be my 1 cost. Everybody likes the opposite, the 1/3, the mini. I'm a 3/1 Felicia guy.
It's the blue Philoctetes with reckless.
Right.
And without and it has reckless instead of the whatchamacallit. The word I can't think of.
Support.
Thank you.
So it's just interesting. It could be fun.
Yeah. 100%.
Then we have Fidget, Radigan's Henchman, 3 cost, 3/2, evasive. It's a 3 cost of evasive. It only turns for 1 though. I feel like if you're gonna be evasive, turn for more. But this is specifically probably to combat things that have evasive.
Yeah.
So that being the fact that that's really only what it's there for, it's like a 1.8 for me.
Yeah, it's not great. Honest
Um,
John.
yeah.
He is a 3 cost uninkable 2/3. When you play a Floodborn character, each opponent loses 1 lore. Turns for 1. Solid 2.3. Like we
Okay.
said with the Bucky,
Yeah.
not enough Floodborn right now for it to
Yet,
be super useful.
but it will be. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's the same thing, just exactly what you're saying. We'll wait for it. I don't like that it's uninkable 2/3. That doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But if you're just continually making your opponent lose lore, if you got a couple of these in play, that can be really backbreaking.
Yeah.
I have got to talk about this one. I
Yep.
originally thought this was good, and now I realize that it's even better than good, which is great. Which is the 6 cost uninkable Lady Tremaine Imperious Queen, 3/4, turns for 2. She has Shift, which she does have another one we're about to talk about that's decently relevant, but also uninkable. It's a little scary to have a bunch of uninkables just to have a Shift 4 target.
Yeah.
But this card feels fine at 6. It probably feels pretty nice at 4. When you play this character, each opponent chooses and banishes one of their characters. So if they have one character in play, it just says kill whatever's in play.
Yeah.
It gets around all mechanics because your opponent is the one who's picking it. So it gets past ward, it gets past just all sorts of defense boosts and evasion-y things. It just says this is dead. Evasive doesn't matter. It's all dead. And I think that's really powerful. And I'm upset and happy at the same time that Ruby got this because they don't need any more kill
Nope.
spells. Um, so it just makes it even more oppressive of a color. But it's a great card, and I don't want to hate on a great card.
Yeah. I mean, not much else I can say. I never seen the appeal for this card. I mean, I understand why people like it.
Yeah. What's your
Um,
numbered scale on this one then?
it's a solid 3.3 for me.
Wow.
It's Floodborn, which is good with the Honest
Sure.
John. It's just not.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it for. It's like using. I mean, this is just another Pokemon reference, just because it's the only thing I can relate it to. Because it's the only other card game I play is like the Iron Bundle, where it's like your opponent switches one of their Pokemon, but it's like
It's
they
their
have to
decision.
they pick what they bring up. It's like if I have a 1 cost Lilo and like a 6 cost like Genie out or
Hmm.
something, like I'm going to obviously banish the Lilo. So that defeats. Yes, I'm banishing something, and if I have one character, I banish it.
Right. But
But
also that's the point of the card is you play it when if it's the
right,
only card you have, it's the only card you have. You're still killing something, but you just play it when there's only 2 good options. Like if you have a horse and a Pete, you know what I mean? Which one are you gonna do?
right, and it's like I don't know what the uninkable slots just don't feel great.
I fine. This way you don't play her shift target, and you just play her for 6, and she's a 6-cost 3/4 that turns for 2. That's also kills something on the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like a 4.9 for me. 4.8. If she was inkable, even inkable at 7, I would put her even higher. But that's
Yeah.
effectively just a better dragon. But anyway, I think it's great. Then we have baby version. 2-cost uninkable Lady Tremaine, overbearing matriarch. 2/2 turns for 1. When you play this character, each opponent with more lore than you loses 1 lore. So I don't think it's as good as Aladdin, because Aladdin's just like they just lose 1. I don't care how much they have.
Right.
And it's also a 2/2, but it costs 3 and is inkable. I think it's just better, but it is a potential shift target, and losing lore is a good, so it makes it good in that regard. Whether you're dedicating, like I said, 8 slots to just Lady Tremaines is a little scary.
Yeah.
But what do you think number wise on this? Where do you rate something like this?
This one is going to be a 3 point, probably same 3.3 for me. I mean, having more lore than losing a lore is all right, but they're not always ahead. So it's like,
Yeah,
you want to play this early to shift onto it early. So it's like
sure.
sometimes you're not even getting to utilize its ability.
Exactly. That's why I don't like it. That's why it's like a low 2 for me, like a
Actually, I'd
2.1.
probably give it I'd probably give it a 3, 2 point. We'll go 2.7. 2.7 feels
I,
reasonable.
uh, I love how you can convince your numbers. Who we got next?
Lumiere, 7-cost, inkable, 7/7, turns for 2. A lot of people think this card could be good. I think it's another mid card. It's a 2. I'll give it an 2.8. It's a big butt. Big butts cause big problems. We're
Yeah,
gonna get that. We're gonna get that printed on a T-shirt in the next week. I promise you that.
you gotta also call it's hot-headed candelabra.
Yeah.
Candelabra.
But again, it doesn't really do anything other than turn for 2, which we love.
Yeah, and it's a 7/7, so it's killing a
Yeah,
bunch of stuff. So that's not bad.
which is a
But I
lot
just feel
better
like
than
there's
the
other things you want to play, probably.
which is a lot better than the next couple cards we're gonna talk about, which is the
Lots of
Minnie
Minnie
Mouse
Mouses.
line.
Go, you got all the Minnie Mouses. Show me
All
what's
right.
going on. Tell me what
So
you start us off.
we will start with the Minnie Mouse stylish surfer. It is evasive. This is the only good one in my opinion. I guess the 2 cost is also all right. It's a 3-cost inkable, 1/3 turns for 2. It's evasive. Not terrible.
I think it's
Solid, like
super solid.
super, like it's about 3.3, 3.4. It's reasonable. It gives you reason to play it.
Yeah, I feel like it's evasive, so it's just harder to kill. It's not
Yep.
doing anything else other than being evasive. And a cheap evasive turns for 2 to just continue with pressure early if they don't have an answer for it is really cool. So I rate her decently. I have her like a 4.1, 4.2.
Yeah. So next we get to the worst card. 4-cost inkable Minnie Mouse Wide-Eyed Diver. It is a 2/3, so it goes up by 1 attack. It's a shift 2,
Okay.
and it's all still evasive.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you play a second action in a turn, this character gets +2. So you lose a lore. It only turns for 1. If you
Yeah.
play 2 actions in a turn, you get +2. I think that is terrible because
Mm-hmm.
most people rarely play 1 action in a turn, let alone
Yeah.
2.
And it
I
doesn't
think this
matter if
card is a
it's.
solid 0.5.
I'm with you on that. I
I
have it
hate
at
this
1,
card.
but I can even go below that. You're right. It's just not good. And also it says when you play a second action in a turn, it doesn't say like every other action you get 2
Yeah.
more. I think it's just the second time you play an action it gets +2, and it doesn't matter how many more you play after that. And it feels bad. And
Yeah.
that's the card art too for the little bonus card in the back that everybody has a million of.
The
So
Exodia.
the art's nice, but it's a bad card.
Yeah. And then we have Minnie Mouse Sipping Around. It is a 2-cost inkable, 3/2, turns for 1. Not much else than a shift target for a bad card. I would give it
Mm.
about a 2.
Yeah,
I
maybe
would,
like a low 2, 1.8.
yeah.
It's
So
just a
then,
really weird, just meth
yeah.
shift target.
I don't know if we,
2's fine for 2. That's why I play
yeah.
the Cruella de Vil, which I love. And
I don't know if we can call it a hidden Mickey. There's a Mickey Mouse on the front of her bike, one on the back of her bike towards the back wheel, and then there's one on her green suitcase with the little ears poking out.
those
I don't know
are
if we'd call any of those hidden.
they count well enough.
They're in there. Then we get
Uh,
to the literal worst card in red,
mm,
Mother Gothel. It is a 2-cost, inkable 3/4. This character enters with 3 and play with 3 damage and turns for 1. This card for me, unless you can somehow explain to me why it does this, is a 0.2.
All right, I'll explain it to you. It's 2-cost inkable, which we love. Inkable's good. Turn for 1, nobody cares. It's a 3/4 for 2. So if nothing else, it's a 3-cost kill spell for 2. That's a very solid card. You're killing something with it. It's dumb that it comes into play with damage, but just like you said, with things with damage, sometimes it's advantageous. Think of playing this with Amber, and you play this, and then you heal off the 3, draw 3 cards with Rapunzel. Now you have a 3/4 for 2 and a Rapunzel, all for 6, and 3 extra cards in your hand. That feels nice. So there's ways to make it useful, just like you said. I think it's not great. I'm super with you on that. I have like a maybe a 3 because again, it's a slow kill spell, but it does the job at 2. You don't want to swing into it with anything you're paying at that cost with your 1, 2, or even 3 costs that you're really playing. So I think it's fine, and it's better. I originally hated it as much as you had said, but I think that it has some applications with that cost and that amount of power. Did I
It'll get a
change your
solid
mind?
1.2 from me.
I
It'll
gave
go
I gave it a
home
whole 1,
1.
1.0
I just don't think it would
upgrade.
go higher if red synergized with yellow better, but I really don't think it does.
Red synergizes
So
with everything. It's just kill spells. That's all.
I
It's like,
mean, yes, but
what color do you want to play? Then add kill spells to it. That's my feeling
alright.
on it if we're really talking about it.
Tell me how you
Uh,
really feel.
that is how I really feel. 4-cost, uninkable, Mulan soldier in training. This is one of the first leaked cards. It's a 4/3 with rush. It's typical for things with rush to be uninkable, so that doesn't feel so bad. It just for some reason doesn't feel the same to me as Rafiki does at 3. I don't know if it's because you feel when you're at 4, you're more establishing than just using another kill spell. So it feels a little less good to me. So it's about a 2 out of 5. It's like right on the nose.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, the rush is nice, but uninkable just feels bad. The Namari, it is also a 4-cost uninkable. It is a 3/3 Namari Nemesis. This shouldn't take long. Banish this character. Banish chosen character. Turns for 1. Um, it's a solid. Again, it's like middle of the pack. I'd say 3 for me. It's good that you can banish a character, but aside from that, maybe also killing something or taking something with you before you tap it. It's not doing much.
I have this card pretty high. I have this like maybe a 4.5, 4.6.
Wow. You have this
Um,
ranked higher than Pete. I'm kind of offended.
well, Pete was originally he was in meh, if you remember. So
Yeah, but this card is a meh.
I don't know. If killing anything is very powerful, and as soon as it's in play,
Anything without
ev-
ward.
okay, well, it's hard to, you can't use anything to target with ward, so that's not fair. It just kills all targetable things. Is that better?
I guess.
It seems really powerful. As soon as you put her in there, unless people are dedicating resources to kill her, because you don't want to turn for 1. Who the heck wants it? This is an item. This is a 4-cost item that happens to have a
Kill
body too.
something.
Would you play an item that was a 4-cost item that says tap this to banish a character?
I mean,
Eh? Are you
probably.
ehing me? Yes, you would. I want whoever listens to this, if there's some way to make a polling thing, if anybody would play that card, because I would play that card. I would play a lot of that card. That's silly. So I think this card is underrated. I just traded one away today because I'm a gentleman, but I think it's a really, really good card, and somebody's gonna figure it out. And mark my words on that card. Queen of Hearts. Let's talk about this one. 2-cost inkable 2/2 rush.
I
Turns
like
for
it.
1. I like it as well. I think
So,
rush is neat. I don't. I mean, rush for 2 doesn't feel super great. But it can finish things off. It can be a surprise attacker. You've already played your 1 cost to deal with the Simba, but you still need the thing to kill the Lilo, something like that. It's kind of interesting in that. I think late game it's just ink. So that's why
Yeah.
I got it like a 3.5.
Yeah, I'd say 3.5. 2/2 rush for 2. Inkable feels really good. It also can shift, so we'll jump right
Go for it.
transfer
Yeah.
transfer. We will shift right into
Good
the
boy.
5 cost Inkable Queen of Hearts Sensing Weakness. It is a 4/3 shift 2. Whenever one of your characters challenges another character, you may draw a card, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a solid thing because
Only
again,
turns for 1, but
I think
um
it's going to. I think if you could put a couple of these in play, like if you really wanted to go the Queen's of Heart package, because there's a whole a possibility of being like thematic. Like I only want to use stuff from Alice in
Alice in
Wonderland
Wonderland.
and Jungle Book or something. Like you just that's another thing you can do. I don't think this is powerful enough alone yet with the because you still have to have things to challenge and
Right.
uh, but it's interesting. I didn't rate it very hard to be honest. I was like
You
maybe
don't seem to rate a lot of
three
things
and a
very
half.
high,
Only good cards. Yeah.
which you didn't even rate Pete that high originally, so I don't know how I
Well,
can trust your word on good cards.
just like I've changed your mind on several cards, you changed mine on one.
Yeah? I think there's been more than one, you ass.
I almost got that through. Move on to Radigan. It's your turn.
Alright, we'll do 5 cost Uninkable Radigan, very large mouse. That Rob is.
Very large.
He is a 3/3, turns for 2, which we love. When you play this character, exert choosing opposing character with 3 attack or less. Choose one of your characters and ready them. They cannot quest for the rest of this turn. It's a very not niche but interesting ability.
Yeah.
It,
You have to have
it
all like targets that you want that to
there's a
happen.
lot of things that have to be there for that to work, and it's
Uh,
only when you play it. It's not even like when you play it in Quest, and it's uninkable. So I'd give that a solid like 2.
yeah, maybe like a 1.7 or so. I'm with you on that. It's just like if you can get it set up, I bet you can do some silly things with it, but there's too
Yeah,
many things to go with it. It's a fun workaround, maybe. Then you got Raya or Raya. I don't know which.
Rhea. I think
Is it Raya?
it's either I'm gonna call it Rhea, but it
I
could be
think
Raya.
Raya sounds fair.
You sound
Uh,
fair.
3 cost inkable 2/3. Note to self: don't die during your turn. Whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready it. So you can
Pretty good.
quest for the rest of the turn. So you can get maybe a kill and a damage on with her. But
Yeah.
turns for 1, it doesn't impress me. It's like a 1, like just a 1 out of 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
I
like
would
it?
I'd give it like a 2.3 though. I think being able to especially with Lilo still being around, like being able to banish a Lilo and then ready and then kill something else or put damage on something else is just like good to be able to at least try
Mm,
to get more than one. And it's also a really
yeah,
good shift target for the next card we're going to shift into talking about is the 6 cost Inkable Rhea Leader of Heart. That is a 5/3 Floodborn. Shift 4. Whenever this character challenges a damaged character, she takes no damage from the challenge, which is broken. And it turns for 2.
turns for 2. Yep. I love this card, and I have
Yeah.
three foils of this because that's the only thing that my boxes saw fit to give me.
Which is
So
kind of
I hope it's good, but right now it's $1, so it doesn't feel nice.
well, here's what's insane. You can use the headstrong one to kill like a Lilo or something, or
You love
even just
killing Lilo. You love
to damage something.
that does not
And
that
if
only hits for 1. So like you can hit a, but you have to kill something, don't you? Whenever it has to ban it, so it
you
has
kill
to
something
kill
that's
something.
already, yeah.
So only if it's killing little things. But yes, I see what you're saying. And then it's already set up the other one.
Yeah.
It's a cool sweeper where if they just damage everything, play in gray, just put down a Tinkerbell and it just kills everything.
And then you basically can kill everything for free.
Yeah, it's
And then we have
interesting, but it doesn't rate very high for me. I got
yeah, I'd give it
like
a 3. I think it's good. Not good
like
enough yet.
1.6 is where I'm at on that.
Oh wow, you really don't like it.
No, I want it not yet, not until I figure somebody can prove me
You
wrong. I hope so, but it doesn't.
I mean, I feel like I think it warrants at least a 2 for I mean,
Well,
anything
that's
as a single drop of damage, it doesn't take damage. That's good.
okay. I appreciate your opinion on that, and you take your number. Move on to Rhea number 3.
Rhea 4-cost inkable is a 5/3, turns for 1. Not much else to say about it. It's a better shift target, just a more expensive shift target. You can play the other one and then shift the following turn into it. This one you'd wait one extra turn. Not that that really matters. Just if you're very focused on getting the shift out, this is not the one to play. If you're not too worried about getting it out, then this is probably the better one.
This is the only one I like. This one is like 3.5 maybe for me. I just think a 5/3 at 4 is very nicely costed.
Yeah.
At 4, you're probably, especially if you're going second, they're getting established. The next turn, you want to have something that's going to kill something big at 5, and I think dealing 5 damage is pretty great on that.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So yes, make a good 3 for me. 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I like this Scar though. I originally didn't, but I'm selling myself on this.
I have one of
Scar,
these scars.
Vicious Cheater, 6/5 with Rush. Daddy isn't here to save you. During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may ready this character. You can't quest for the rest of the turn. So every time you kill something with him, you get to activate him and do it again.
Yeah.
So cool for like an aggro green deck that's just turning a bunch of guys that aren't too big, and you can eat a couple of them. It's a 2 or 3 kill spell. And if for whatever reason you wanted to just turn for 2, you could turn for 2 because that's what all the cool kids are doing.
Yeah. And I mean, it has rush too, so you could attack the same turn.
Yeah, it's uninkable, so that doesn't feel great, but it's a high 4 for me, like a 4/4.
I was
I
gonna
guess
say
not a high
for
4, it's a
what
mid 4, 4/4,
for
4/5.
for what it does, it's reasonable to be uninkable.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with Rush, as we said, Rush is usually uninkable. It's just a really good Rush character.
Yeah.
So, and then this one is great though. This is a better kitty.
Yeah.
3
Shere
cost
Khan.
Shere Khan, Menacing Predator. 3/3 turns for 1. I mean, a 3/3 for 3 is fine. We love that. Don't insult my intelligence. Whenever one of your characters challenges another character, gain a lore.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
that is
that and Beast.
it's
Can you just imagine?
so good.
I mean, the combo with this, keep in mind, combo with this with the Beast, where you're challenging, gaining a lore, and then readying the Beast, which you've probably used to turn for 2. Then you kill something, you turn again for 2, hit
Yeah.
something else. You can basically get 3 as many times as you can hit something.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I think it combos with anything that you're being just aggressive with attacking, which is a strategy, not necessarily the common strategy, but in Ruby it is. So
Yeah.
I think you get a couple of these in play and just crush with one thing, gain 2, gain 3 lore. That feels really good.
Yeah.
I mean, less likely, right? But when it does happen, oh, that's backbreaking, and you're killing
Yeah.
things and you're advancing down the track. Like that's really, really good. Another Tigger,
Tigger, one of a kind. 3 cost, 3/3. Whenever you play an action, this character gets +2 this turn,
2 power.
and it turns for 1. Not much to say. I mean, it's a solid like 2.3 for me. I don't think it's great. I mean, a 5/3 is good for 3, but you also have to play an action with it.
Yeah, that's too many stipulations. It's like a
Yeah.
one for me. Next one's Tuck Tuck Wrecking Ball. It's a 4/5 with Reckless, but it is a 4 uninkable. So I don't love it. It's not good enough for me for that price. That's a 1 out
Another
of 5 for
2.
me. Okay, I'm not even there.
Go the distance, 2 cost inkable song. Ready chosen damage characters of yours. They can't quest for the rest of the turn. Draw a card. Slightly better, slightly worse shield. You get to draw a card, but you have to be damaged.
Which normally you are if you're using the shield.
Yeah. So I give it a solid 3.5. I think it can be really useful.
Okay, yeah, I think I have it at like a 3 as well. I think there could be some interesting things you could do with it. maybe a 3.4 or 5 even,
Yeah.
because the fact that you're reading is something that's really powerful. We've used it. You see it with LeFou. You see it with the shield. People use it, and it's very beneficial. It's again a quintessential Ruby ability.
Yep.
So you can do that to attack a couple times if you want something, and while you're doing it, you also get to draw a card. And by the way, you did not mention that "Go the Distance" is a song.
I did.
Did you? Then
Yeah.
I retract that comment. I wasn't listening to you.
I know you
Uh,
weren't listening. I literally said "Go the Distance." It's a song,
I'm
and then
okay. Did you sing it? 'Cause so that maybe that would have reminded me. You're supposed to sing the song.
I've never seen the movie, so I don't even
Oh
know the
my
song.
god, will you watch some Disney movies, please?
What movie is this from?
Hercules.
Oh, then I've definitely heard this because I've seen Hercules. I just don't remember the song.
Don't you see the flying horse in the picture? Did that not a dead giveaway?
No,
How many flying horse Disney movies do you know of?
I don't
I've seen
know.
a house fly,
It's been a long time since I've seen
but I've never seen an
Hercules.
elephant fly.
Number
Uh,
for Teeth and Ambitions, we talked about this a
yes,
little bit
I
earlier. It is a
listened to the next one.
2-cost inkable. It is also a song. Again, Rob, just so everyone in the back can hear it. It is a song.
Yeah, listening this time.
Deal 2 damage to chosen character of yours. Deal 2 damage to another chosen character. So again, it combos well with exclusively that Donald Duck.
Yep. Did
Um,
you figure out what the other card it combos really well with?
nope.
Uh, as a friend of mine would say at the place we were playing today at Aquilonia, Abuelita, the Grammatala, it works really good with because
Oh
she
yeah,
sings
because you
it
can just
herself, kills
and
herself,
then kill self, and
and
then you
then
get
does
the
2 damage
lore.
to something, and you get to pop her
Yeah.
into the ink pile. I saw him do that. I'm like, that was beautiful to watch against
So
me.
it
Um,
has its
so
it
it has
has
a
its
couple of
uses.
applications, but otherwise it's a bad
Solid.
card.
I'd give it a solid 2.2 because it
Yeah.
is very useful when it's useful, very bad when it's not.
I like that it's a song that brings it up for me. So it's like a 3.6, maybe 3.7 because it's a song. Just because you could just do it for two. Almost everything can sing a 2-cost song. So
Yeah.
that gives it a little more. And of course, it's inkable. So I get a little bit more love for this, even though I think it's a really expensive way to deal 2 damage. But uh, it's a song. Let's sing about it.
Yeah.
Uh, then there's on the other side a 3-cost song, the most diabolical scheme. Banish chosen
Uninkable.
villain of yours to banish chosen character, which I did not read and was unfortunately played incorrectly against me in a draft with somebody. But now it's okay. I read it and I realized I'm like, it felt really powerful, but I'm just like, yep, okay, it's good enough. But you have to banish your own villain to banish anything. So as we said, if there was an
Mm,
item that did this, is we would love it. But the fact that you have to banish your own villain to
not
do
worth
it
it.
doesn't feel super
Solid
great.
1, especially at uninkable.
But there's a lot of villains. So I mean, even Pete's a villain, FYI. Not that you're running away.
Yeah.
Um, and so is Lady Tremaine and Shere Khan and like a lot of the things we were talking about. Scar. So it's not like they aren't around. And if you think about Scar, for instance, we'll go back to him for a quick second. So if you're doing this, you're doing the rush thing. You've rushed in, you've killed something. You've rushed in, you've killed something. You're still alive. You could just he he'll activate again because you killed something, and he can sing most diabolically seem himself, sacrifice himself, and banish another thing. So dream scenarios, I get it, but there's some
Yeah.
application for it. It's not terrible, but it does not rate very high. It's like a maybe 2 and 2.5 for me.
Yeah. I'd probably be the highest I would put it is 2.5. I don't think
But
it's higher than that.
it is a song that always gives it more points.
What did you call me?
I called you an action that costs 1. What did you call me?
Inkable as well, because you forgot to mention the last one was uninkable.
Did I? Now we got to. I
Yeah,
thought I did mention that was uninkable.
you did
Maybe
not.
you're not listening to me.
Now I'm listening. I made sure.
I can't rewind.
Chosen damage
Somebody else can.
characters get +3. Uh, it's useful. It has its uses. It doesn't put Pete over the edge, so I wouldn't say you can combo with Pete, but it does
No.
help you get a lot of kills on a lot of things. Giving +3, even to a character that has 3, giving it 6 is really good.
Yeah.
For
It's
1, I mean, having damage on it doesn't help, especially because you don't want to use Teeth and Ambitions. But I guess if you really need to kill something, that's a combo you could do.
It's okay. It's like a low 1, like a 1 out of 5
Give it like
for
a
me.
1.5.
0.9. I don't know. I don't know the point. Like, why would you even put this in your deck? You
Teeth and
really just
Ambitions combo.
You really just need 3 more.
I mean, you can combo it with the Donald Duck that has 1, and then you get he's a 4/5 at that point. So if you quest with him and you need to kill something,
Well, you don't want to quest with him. You want to. Well, I mean, you want to quest with
you
him. You
do
don't want
want
to
to quest
attack
with him.
with
You
him.
don't want to attack. But if you have to attack for some reason, there's an
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, meh. There's a
And then you
better
have
song though. Tell
You
me
Can
about this one.
Fly.
That's a good
It
song.
is a 2-cost inkable song. Chosen character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. It's a solid 2.5 for me.
Okay.
Partially because there's a lot of characters, and almost I think every other color has a character that gives you a way to challenge evasive. I know green has one. I guess maybe it's only 2 colors. I know green and blue have one. I don't know if purple does.
Purple has a
Purple
bunch of evasive
does.
characters.
Purple has a dozen evasive characters. I don't know if yellow and steel do.
Steel does not have evasive that I
No,
can think of right now.
amber might have 1.
I don't think of any in amber either.
But I mean, it's good. It gives you evasive for the end of your turn until the start of your next turn, so you have it for an entire turn, which makes it
So it makes
good.
it so that thing can't get targeted as easily. Though.
Right.
So you can kind of, if anything, I'd use it as a defensive card. Just be like, all right, do you
Right.
have an evasive answer? Because I'm just going to leave this on this. So it's also like a protective spell as well. So
Giving a character you have with ward evasive is just really good if you want to let it survive another turn and you
yeah, we
know they
talked
have no
about
out.
that. I think this card is decent, especially as a song.
Yeah.
This one's like a high 3 for me, like a 3/7, 3/8.
So next we have Dinner Bell. It is a 4-cost uninkable item. If you tap it and tap 2 ink, draw cards equal to the amount of damage on chosen characters of yours, then banish this item. I think this card is bad.
Mm.
I would give this card a solid, maybe solid 2 at most. It works with Donald Duck again, but for 4 costs, it's not worth it. Plus, you have to turn 2 more, so you're really paying 6 for it.
No, it's like a 0.5 for me.
Yeah, it's not. 2 is the highest I would go, but I'd probably give it a 1.
It's hard to rationalize all that cost just to do that. But there's not a lot of card draw in that color, so that is a thing. But
Right.
it's just bad. Also, equally bad is the 2-cost uninkable Peter Pan's dagger item. Your characters with evasive get 1 power. Woot! I don't care.
I think it's better than Dinner Bell. I'd give that. I'd give a definite 2.
I would rather run Dinner Bell. This is like a 0.1 for me. This card does not. I don't understand why you would waste an uninkable slot on this.
I mean, I can't justify wasting an uninkable slot, but I do think giving all evasive characters +1, especially if you have 2 or 3 of these, for the 2 costs that they are, is pretty good. Because giving an evasive character +3, which technically, if you combo with You Can Fly, you can give any character +1, 2, or up to 3.
You could, there you go. You figured out you've unlocked it.
So I'll give it
+1.
I'll give it a 2 because you can stack them.
Okay. I mean, these are dreams. It's a fun Porcana card. You just make an evasive red deck and make everything more powerful by 1. Woot. Last card in Ruby is the Sword in the Stone, which I really wish was better because it's the freaking Sword in the Stone, man. How is the Sword in the Stone a 1-cost in uninkable? Like, I get the uninkable, it's hard to access, but 1. It costs 1 for the freaking Sword in the Stone.
Really costs 3.
Yeah, exert, pay 2. Chosen character gets +1 this turn for each damage on them. Like,
Woot.
really?
We'll go right back to that woot.
This sword that crowns the King of England just makes something a little bit tougher. Like, hits a little bit harder. Like a sharp stick should give you 0.1. Like,
I mean, these are all good cards as a combo with Teeth and Ambitions, but going back to it, Teeth and Ambitions isn't that good of a card.
No. So this was all the Teeth and Ambitions package.
Essentially, this is the Teeth and Ambitions package for red.
And since now we know, we can just quickly talk about the fact that the 4 enchanteds for this colors are Peak, which you obtained today and is fascinatingly beautiful. Great card. The Beast that is in my deck that may or may not be good. Lady Tremaine. Which I love. I think the art on that is gorgeous, but I like even more the art on the last one, which is Shere Khan. That's great.
Yeah.
So red got just way too many more tools, so it's even more powerful.
Because that's what red needed, was to be more powerful.
Right. It's the sort of, I think like red and blue are the sort of default colors. It's like, all right, I'll run whatever this card I want to do in this color, and then I either want a bunch of kill spells or a bunch of quick draw.
Yeah.
And you just pick between them. But obviously there's things outside of those.
Right.
But this got really very powerful, and now red blue and red purple are going to be extremely oppressive. And you're gonna have to plan for it. That's my advice to all of you players out there. But tell us what you think is your favorite cards. Like, let us know. I'm sure there's a place to leave comments somewhere, right?
Yes, there'll be a place you guys can leave. I will put up a poll on Spotify, or you can leave one in the comments on YouTube. Just let us know what your favorite card from green and or red is that we talked about from set 2.
Or why Anthony's wrong and why I'm right. I also accept both of those things.
Yeah, you could also tell Rob why he's wrong, because he won't even get to look at the comments because he doesn't know how to use his phone, let alone.
I know how to use my phone. I've texted several times and called and like done calculator apps and shit on it. Like I've done things. All right.
But with that, thank you guys for listening. I think it's going to be the same as the next episode. They're going to be very long because of how long this takes.
Set review, but after that, they'll be back to normal length.
Yeah, which is, we don't really have a normal length. I think this has become our normal length, but around an hour.
Yeah,
we would like to do within an hour.
Well, you guys don't have to listen to us for too long, but you can enjoy the sweet, sweet sounds of our voice for just that long.
So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.